Hello viewers, today we are in conversation with Mr. Ajinkya, owner of Baba Travels. He got involved in the business quite young and with his enthusiasm and knack for using technology gave a new face to Baba Travels. In fact, there is so much more to him than just being a successful businessman. Let's get to know him more and the journey of Baba Travels from Mr. Ajinkya himself. Hello Mr. Ajinkya.
Hi.
Welcome to our show, The Untold Stories of Bus Operators.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Great. The pleasure is all ours.
All right.
Yeah. So as I was mentioning, you got involved in the business quite young, even before completing your higher secondary. So how challenging was it?
Not really for me because my formal education was also, I'm a BA honors in hospitality. And the service industry, as we call the bus industry, the travel industry or tourism, it is again a part of hospitality. Just to get a little bit of experience on the field. Apart from working in the hotels, I've worked in the hotels rigorously for about 4 to 6 years.
Oh.
So every time I came back during my vacations, I barely got any vacations, but at least for a week or so, whenever I came back, I made sure I went to the office. I went, saw what my father was doing. Couldn't give a lot of time because I had my own assignments, my reports to make during that time. But I always love to get my hands on experience as being the owner of a fleet or of an organization like this.
Right.
I still remember the days. I was the first person to open the office every day. At 6 a.m.
Wow.
I used to open the office, 6 a.m. I used to open the office, sweep the floor. Then the buses start coming in. As the buses start coming in, loading, unloading, and the staff used to pour in at about 7:38. So every staff entered almost after me. No matter at what time I slept, I made sure that at 6 o'clock I was at work.
That's a great dedication, I must say.
Because that also again came from a lot of work in the hotels. From the experience that I had, our morning shift used to start at 6 o'clock. That's where I understood no matter what, if the day begins early, you can get a lot of things done.
Right.
And then later on in the evening, because our business is such, it's a 24-hour business. And no matter at what time I come home, I mean, all of us, all the operators, I could speak for everybody. There's a thing in the back of your head that the business is still on.
Right.
There's no complete shut off. It's not a typical traditional business where you work certain hours and then you close and you go back home, and then you've got only your work. I mean, you've got your family. That's about it. But for us, there are a lot of difficult things to go through like that. But fair. I mean, great that I learned that in my early ages. It helped me quite a lot to grow in the business and a person.
Right.
Yeah. So that's been my early days of this career, at least. Yeah.
So, being a bus operator, your life is definitely very hectic. So, whenever, if possible, you take a time off, what do you enjoy doing and how do you de-stress yourself?
There's nothing de-stressing for me. I mean, I can't say there's anything that de-stresses me, or there's nothing so far that I believe has stressed me so much. When I think my decision making is getting hampered, I sit back, breathe, and I listen to the person, what he's saying, or I visually look at the situation, what it is, for what it is, for no bias visuals, just the situation that is in front of me, and then I find a way to deal with it. I love to travel. Travel in the sense, I love to go to places where I don't like to go to cities. I like to go to remote places, like places where you wouldn't have even heard names of. Places where there is no motorable road, so either you walk or you only walk, there's nothing else, or you boat it to that place. Yeah. So, and this again has been a thing for me since I was a kid. When I was in 5th grade, my first outdoor experience was they'd taken us to Himachal for trekking. We'd gone to Himachal to trek in 6th grade. I really liked it. So we did Roopkund in my 6th grade, and I was very young that time. So for 3-4 years, I was going to Uttarakhand, Himachal. I used to trek a lot at that point of time.
Right.
So yeah, since then I always love to go to places where there are no motor vehicles, where there are very few humans. I love to paint. That's my painting.
Wow.
So I used to paint. I mean, I still paint. There are a bunch of them still in progress in my room. I make music, electronic music. I used to play tabla when I was a kid. Gave up tabla. Learned how to play guitar. I mean, I still play a little bit of guitar. I write poems. I write stories. So yeah, those are my interests. I like that. I mean, I like calm, beautiful places.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people around.
So, as we know, to be successful in professional life, it's very important to have a support from your family. So, what role has your family played in evolving your business?
My family, so a great amount of role, like everything. Everything from the root till like what I've grown up to now. Everything from planting the seed, they've done everything. Like my father is a very hardworking man, extremely hardworking man, and has great willpower. Yeah, so my father's been a great inspiration for me throughout, from the beginning, from when I started. From the time he's introduced me to people in the industry, from the time he's told me how things work, from the very scratch of thing, like what the bookings are, how you set the pricing, how you plan the trips, how you plan your route, why you plan your route, everything for that matter. And because dad's always been in this business, mom understands how demanding is the business, so she understands it completely, that how I'm going to be, how things are going to look like for me, and she knows how challenging it is. So looking at that, even my wife, she, like I told you, we dated a long time before we got married. So she also quite a lot understood what the business is, and if I get calls at midnight saying there's a breakdown or there's something happened or there's some cop trouble or whatever for that matter, she understands. Yes, it demands his attention. It demands my attention, and I'll have to give it. So it's been a very understanding situation in the family, and I quite like it. I quite appreciate it. Yeah.
So, Baba Travels was started by your father in 1983, and he worked hard on creating a brand name of it, for it, and then you took it to newer heights. So, how the journey has been for Baba Travels since inception till now?
Okay, so initially it wasn't a bus operating company. We were a taxi company before.
Oh.
So we had four-wheelers. Back in the day, there were ambassadors, and then there were after ambassadors there were Maruti 800s. So he was, like I told you, he is a very popular man in the town. A lot of people know him for he's done a lot for people and around for everybody for that matter. He's been a very social person. So when he bought his first vehicle, he started his taxi service. He used to drive it by himself. Then my cousin, my first cousin, he joined him. That's when he multiplied to I think about 4 taxis of his. Of Baba Travels के नाम से. Later on, his friends, other people, they came up to him like, भैया कुछ काम कर रहे हैं, like गाड़ी खरीद ले मैं चलवा दूँगा. So how it was back in the day was कि you buy a car, you go to Baba Travels, you tell बाबा भैया कि भैया मेरी गाड़ी है, ट्रिप आती है तो मेरा जॉब कार्ड ओपन कर देना. So that's it. So there are taxis lined up. Every morning they used to line up कि हाँ चल तेरा टर्न इधर निकल, तेरा टर्न इधर निकल, फटाफट गाड़ीज are gone. Politicians coming down, they used to contact बाबा कि अरे बाबा ऐसा आ रहा है, इनके लिए ये चाहिए, वो आ रहा है. So that happened. After that, I think in 89, the landlord of that place, he was my father's very close friend. He was like कि बाबा अपन बस लेते हैं. He's like हाँ ठीक है चलो. So they bought a bus in partnership. No, they didn't have a particular route back in the day. So they used to take people on marriage trips.
That's
Marriage
how
trips and then school trips and all of that. And not a lot of people had buses back in the day for all these chota mota
Yeah.
trips. So there was only one guy and he was quite busy back in the day. And again, those days also, he's working, he's like driver, and we didn't have cell phones back in the day. You had normal landlines.
Right.
सो ऑफिस का लैंडलाइन से ही इज कॉलिंग ड्राइवर के मोहल्ले में जिसके पास घर है कि अरे वो आदमी है, वो लड़का है, उसको ज़रा बुलाने भेजो. द अदर गाय से कि अरे भैया वो तो घर पे दारू पी के पड़ा है, उसकी बीवी बोल रही है वो तो फ़ोन पे बात करने की हालत में नहीं है. डैड विल बी लाइक हाँ चल ठीक है, चलना व्हाट टू डू. ही हैंग अप, ही वोंट स्क्रीम नथिंग. He'll take the key, he'll put in the switch, start the bus, ताला लगा देंगे ऑफिस को, खुद ही ट्रिप मार के फिर आ जाएंगे. And that time he was married. My mom had a very difficult time in the initial days understanding the lifestyle because he's gone on trips
Yeah.
and she's tried to reach him, no one's answering. And then my chacha comes home and he'll be like, वो अभी बस लेके निकला है, वो अभी सुबह 4 बजे आएगा. So
Quite difficult.
Exactly. So early days were difficult. It wasn't as simple as we have it handed over to us.
Right.
I think then he sold that bus off and he bought his own bus. I was born 90 and he bought his first bus in 91. And then he never looked back. So he just kept on multiplying after that. So the first bus he sent a regular service-wise was to Shegaon. So, and the first ride there were no passengers. Luckily there was one guy who still visits our office nowadays. He came and he's like भैया गाड़ी शेगांव जा रही है क्या? He's like हाँ शेगांव जा रही है. He's like अरे भैया मुझे जाना था थोड़ा अर्जेंट, वहाँ पे ये सामान पहुँचाना है. My father is like अच्छा ठीक है बैठ जाओ. He's like कि टिकट, he's like कोई नहीं, आप पहले कस्टमर हो, आपसे क्या टिकट लेना. One man sat in the vehicle with my dad, the driver and his other friend. 3-4 people went to Shegaon, came back. Shegaon से भी कोई ट्रिप नहीं मिली. And that's it. After that, it just kept on happening. It multiplied. Not a lot of people were into travel business. He multiplied routes. He had contacts in different cities because again he had a major role to play in Nagpur's back in the day, the university elections and all that for many years. So all the people who from other cities, towns or villages then, which are towns now, they came to study here. They went back to their place. They're like, अरे बाबा भैया, and like they had respect for him. Like भैया यहाँ चालू कर दो, मैं हूँ यहाँ पे, मैं देख लूँगा. So he like without a second thought, it kept on growing. I joined. I mean, I only saw the golden era of the business. But when I started understanding what the business is, I started understanding, oh, this is where the money comes from. This is how you earn the extra buck. And that was an era where computers were new.
Right.
Desktop at someone's house was like a TV set
luxury.
in someone's house in 89 or 87.
Yeah.
Later on, it became a household thing. Like everyone has a computer. Then we got a first computer for my accountant, not even for me, for our accountant. And I used to go play games on that computer. Slowly, gradually, computer became a regular, like a very known thing. Like typewriters were out. They'd completely gone out. And then there were computers everywhere. Then the internet happened. As soon as the internet happened, I was like mesmerized by, like for me, email was a very fascinating thing. When I started sitting in the office, 2-3 बार शाम में झगड़े देखा है कि मेरे सीट पे दूसरा पैसेंजर कैसे बैठा है.
Double
booking
booking,
कैसे
yeah.
होगा. I like there must be a way, yeah. And by then I had already learned MS Word and Excel and all of that. I was like कि ये email पे तो हो सकता है. Like you send emails, but I was like, my staff is not all that educated. Like no staff was that educated back in the day. Even now,
Right. It's difficult, yeah.
Yeah, no staff is as educated. I mean, you need a proper data entry person to fill in that portfolio. Otherwise, no staff is that educated to handle not DOS, I'm saying Word and Excel or anything. So I was like, now what to do? How to go about it? And one day, I was just chilling, hanging out on the computer. A guy from Chennai had come, and I wouldn't name the company, and they wanted to tell us that this is how a booking software works. I was like, man, that'll do great things for us. But then Baba was all, I mean, this is on the front, but my father was calculating कि एक ऑफिस, दो ऑफिस, तीन, चार, 6 ऑफिस में अपने को कंप्यूटर लगाना है. And back in the day, computer was expensive, very expensive. But then he was like, चल ठीक है, अपन कंप्यूटर भी लगा लेंगे, कोई ऑफिस में रजिस्टर भी रखेंगे. And then I sat with him. I understood the entire process of how, if someone wants to give a manual ticket, and the system is only Nagpur, how can you work? Can I handle the inventory from one station and let everyone else, handle it manually? So for 3 years we had a split inventory, certain on the Nagpur server, certain on books everywhere else. And my father, he's a very far thought person. Like he sees way ahead in the future, and he was like, चल ठीक है यार, क्या होगा ज़्यादा पैसा अभी खर्चा होगा. There won't be double booking. There won't be people coming and being like कि मेरे से पे क्यों है, मारा पीटी, गाड़ी लेट हो रहा है, ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है. I will be able to see कि कितनी सीट हुई है गाड़ी में यहाँ बैठे बैठे. And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, and this time I was, I think, in 9th grade. Oh. And 8th grade, 9th grade, something like that. And he's like, Ajinkya, make sure that everyone's using the computers. I'm like, dude, I want Chintu guy roaming around all offices. What do you expect from me? He's like, no, you make sure that everyone's using computers. And I was like a little snitch. I used to go to the office, and the people who I didn't see them use computer, I used to call Baba. That time cell phones had already come in. I used to call him from landline. I was like, Baba, यहाँ पे कंप्यूटर यूज़ ही नहीं करते, मेरे को बोलते आता नहीं यूज़ करना. And this was a regular complaint. Everyone was like, मुझे आता नहीं. And yeah, that stayed on for a very long time. So then came the time of internet booking. So Make My Trip, who had started off with flight bookings. Yeah. And then they started off with hotel bookings. And then they got a small section of bus booking. And we actually started getting bookings from Make My Trip, and without my consent, I don't even know what an API is back in the day. So without my consent, this guy has already shared our inventory online. And he comes to my father and he's like, भैया cancel check लगेगा, आपका जो booking online होता है उसके पैसे आपको उसमें जाएंगे. My father like, what the hell is online booking? And then I explained to him कि I was like, अच्छा ये होता है, इससे like how you book flights, bus भी you can book, you can book your seats like that, और फिर वो पैसे directly अपने को नहीं आते, उनके पास जाते हैं, फिर वो पैसा commission कितना लेता है. And I was like, so that was their thing to decide. Mine was कि how smooth I can make the operations, how you can save time. So that was my thing from the very beginning. That happened. Then Red Bus came in. Then a lot of other things came in. And now what started happening was, in the meanwhile we made our website. Because you're like, you can go to our website and we can book tickets from there. Because you can't come here, so you book on the website. Right. Not necessarily that you have to book on Make My Trip. Yeah. Website ke upar I didn't have to give them any commission because it was my website. I had developed it myself. And that happened. But then these guys, this thing kept on dropping. Like the link kept on dropping, the payments didn't go through, पैसा deduct हो गया, ticket book नहीं हुई. These were major issues. And Deepak had come to me back in the day, and he explained this to me. I was like, thanks a lot, but we already have a thing in place, and I can't really promise you, but I will for sure keep in mind that you provide such kind of service. I really like your software. I like everything that you're providing. I like your commercials. I like everything was like spot on. But there were certain reasons where I couldn't switch at that point of time. Then I made up my mind because there were regular complaints. दिन में at least I used to have 10-15 complaints कि पैसे कट गए पर booking नहीं हुआ है. And that was a lot because
true, that's a
lot of complaints
within a day.
Within a day. When I contacted Deepak, I was like, listen, I think I want to see a trial of your software. I want to understand the whole thing. Then Datta came in, and the moment he showed me like everything that's possible in the software, I was like, wow, like I have more than what I require. 4th of Feb, we went live, and there was no looking back after that. So yeah, I mean that's been the journey from the books to like now booking tickets on your mobile phone.
Right.
As simple as that.
And Baba Travels have actually lived through that.
And for me, the greater part was I personally lived all of it.
Yeah.
Like I saw it from like every step of it. I was part of it. Like not my father necessarily, he's seen it, but I was part of it. I was evolving with it. I was growing with it.
Yeah.
I was letting the company grow with it. So it is a very special thing to me. How we've come to a stage where now even if I'm on a vacation, I can sit back and do things on my phone and figure out what is the occupancy, what rate slabs you have to fix for what. I can sit wherever I can do that. So quite happy about it, like very happy about it. Yeah.
So what according to you are the top 3 challenges for bus operators in the current market?
Top 3 challenges. First, fair competition. For me, what I believe is competition, like this bad competition is the biggest threat to the industry. The second challenge for me would be supervision. You have facilities now, you have cameras and all, but still not at a level where you can supervise everything throughout. Because again, your inventory is not at one place, it's all over.
Yeah.
It is all over. It's difficult to supervise your business that way. You can do it in the sense of कि I can't be like कि हाँ सब bedsheet crisp है कि नहीं है, सब bedsheet change हुए कि नहीं है. I can't look at that.
True.
When they're leaving from Nagpur, of course, definitely I can. But how can I tell कि नासिक से आने वाले का change हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है? I have a staff there who will tell me कि हाँ मैंने आज check किया सब हो गया है. But at the same time, next day in the morning when I look at Red Bus, there will be a review saying seat number 12 का bedsheet गंदा था. Here I know the machine's health here. On the way something else happens. On the way back, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So these are challenges. Supervision is another big challenge for me. If you talk about challenging times, yeah, COVID and monsoons, big, what do you say? They create a big hole in our pockets. So COVID, it was the first time. I can't call it a recurring thing. It was the first time it happened. None of us knew how it was going to affect any industry, and especially tourism industry got a major jolt.
It was a complete stop.
Exactly, you couldn't do much about it. But monsoon is a big thing. I don't understand why, but entire tourism industry goes down on a very slow pace in monsoons for a lot. Like I think the entire tourism industry,
right.
entire tourism industry. If you look at it, look at it in a bigger perspective, it's always been like that.
So you have been very passionate about providing quality service to your customers,
Yes.
and you personally look into every issue that has come.
Haan.
So please share something about that.
So I make sure while the time of departure, I'm physically present at the point of departure, the first point of departure from where the bus leaves, so that any customer, if they have any guests, they have any kind of trouble or any complaint, I'm physically present there to understand the complaint. And a lot of times what happens is, while you wait for the bus, customers talk कि हम तो ये गाड़ी से जाते हैं, ये गाड़ी में ऐसा है, and it gives you a little morale boost, you know, कि I have loyal customers.
Yeah.
And while I am there, a lot of customers say कि भैया ये route चालू करके देखो. So you get lot of suggestions, there is a lot of client interaction that happens, and which is very important.
Yeah.
In service industry is extremely important. Your reviews, your client interactions, your feedbacks are at most important. Like if there is feedback, that's where there is a scope to grow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I personally make sure that I'm present at the spot. I don't hesitate to step up and pick up the phone and answer, and be like, hello, Baba Travels, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Or I'm available for anything. Like I've booked tickets. Like I said, I've started working in the business from sweeping the floor to booking tickets to being a boss. Yeah. So yeah, that's been that.
Yeah. So apart from you working hard for making the business successful, it's very important to have a strong support from your team. How do you keep them motivated?
How do I keep them motivated? There are a lot of things. You keep them motivated. Firstly, you give them incentives in certain manner when they don't even require it. When they require it, you are firstly. What I believe is this industry. Not a lot of people are polite. Operators are not very polite. The staff is not really polite. It's a very rugged business. For me, I talk to my staff with utmost respect. Firstly, I don't talk to them कि तू ये कर ले, तू वो कर ले, तू चले जा, गाली तो बनती नहीं है. So first that's where they first understand कि no, this man is serious about what he's doing. And next, I try to give them as much amount of rest as possible, accommodate as many things as I can for their well-being. Someone comes up to me कि भैया advance चाहिए, ये काम है. I don't hesitate. I'm like हाँ ठीक है चलो ले लो यार, no, not a problem. My old staff, I've given them, I can't say incentives, but help them build their permanent houses and not ask them for the money back in return. The money that I've lent them, I've not lent them, I've given them as a gratitude from my side, like ki you've worked with me for so many years.
Yeah.
This is my little contribution to your this house. So the old staff keeps motivated कि नहीं कुछ हुआ नहीं हुआ भैया तो अपना ख्याल रखेंगे. The new staff looking at that, they are like कि everything is fine, fair here. It's you're getting advances, your life is a little simple, but I mean, you know, nothing's going wrong. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's nothing extraordinary that.
And they are being treated with
you're being
respect. That
treated
is
well.
what
Exactly.
they crave for.
Exactly. You're not mistreating them.
Yeah.
You don't abuse them. You don't use foul language.
Yeah.
They're treated like a human being. All right. That's what we all want at our workplace.
True. So as we were talking about bringing technology to the business, so what according to you are the attributes of a software that a bus operator should look for?
For me, what I think is bus operators, we really need to know how to save time. It has to be user friendly because we don't have skilled staff. We really don't have skilled staff. We have to hire such amount of staff, and then the feasibility is so low, and so you have to make sure that I'm hiring a staff of that pay grade, and that staff is not going to be so skilled.
Right.
So it has to be user friendly where he understands button. He doesn't understand the process behind it. It's not necessary for him to understand the process behind it. Him or her, whoever we are hiring. So it's important for a software to be user friendly firstly. Second, it shouldn't be time consuming. Third, it should be so easily available for the owners, like I said, to supervise your inventory, to have everything close knit, to keep a track of your accounts, to keep a track of, now that you have like Bitla has tied up with I think the tracking software.
Yeah.
It becomes very easy for us to, like, under one roof, for me to just check where's the bus at this moment, at what time it reaches this place. I mean, it becomes very easy. I don't have to have 3-4 different apps. I don't have to have 3-4 different web pages open on my laptop to check. So it becomes simpler for me. to keep it under one roof, like
Yeah.
under one block, and I should be able to handle the entire operation through one software. Would make a lot of sense for me.
Right.
And I really want that from Bitla, because I look at it as like my home turf, and as all these boys as my family, and it's very important we hold each other together and keep things as real as they are. Because you have my inventory, you have my accounts, तो एक part incoming तो है, outgoing मैं कहाँ खर्चे कर रहा हूँ, that's not there.
Yeah.
If that also becomes a part, the purchases becomes a part.
It's a holistic.
It's a
it becomes a
full
very,
approach.
Right.
It becomes everything in one software.
Yeah.
Like I can give, like obviously now I can assign roles to accountant, a ticket agent, owner, or whatever, a collector or whatever. I can assign roles and tell that person ki you get only so much to handle. You get to, the purchase department gets only to purchase to feed in what you've purchased.
Yeah.
The maintenance manager gets the facility to type in what he's utilized for the bus. He doesn't get to put in the purchase orders.
Yeah.
That's not his job. It's the purchase department's job, and it's already cut out from this thing. So as an owner, I can sit back. I can be like, हाँ चल अपने पास पैर 7 fan belt है, उसमें से एक निकाल के भेज दो. And then if the maintenance manager is like कि नहीं भैया अपने पास तो बेल्ट है नहीं, तो फिर inventory में कहाँ से दिख रहा है?
Yeah.
I can like pinpoint, catch hold of one particular person, and I want that from Bitla only, in that entire frame.
So that way you will get everything and
Everything
under one
under one,
umbrella. So
exactly.
Yeah. So apart from working hard for Baba Travels, you are one of those kind-hearted person who love to spend time on certain causes. I'm sure like listening from you will inspire a lot of people who are watching us today.
So the environment is first. I make sure that in every possible way we try to reduce our carbon footprint, and we try to explore as many options as possible that would reduce carbon footprint. The next thing that I do is, and I've been doing this since I first got a bank account, was donating a certain chunk to Helpage India, and I do this every Diwali. Apart from that, in winters it gets really cold here. These are extreme. In Nagpur, it's extreme climate.
It's extreme.
There's nothing moderate. So if it's winters, it'll go down to 9 degrees to 7 degrees. It
Even
can go up to-
lower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's summers, this time it went above 50, 52
Right.
degrees and all that.
Right.
Monsoons, you saw what kind of monsoon we had this year. There were waterlogging everywhere. There were floods around everywhere. So extreme temperatures. So for firstly, what I do in winters is we provide blankets. The discarded blankets that we have on the bus, we get them dry cleaned. We pack them and we distribute it on the roads for homeless. Secondly, this is not an initiative, but this is something I follow: gender equality at workplace. I believe that women need to get out there and work and be there on the forefront, because they're such compassionate people and they really need to be there. And it brings in a lot of change to every industry that there is. So that's one personal thing that I do. It's not for any organization or something. The next thing is for the pets, for dogs. A lot of people, street dogs are a menace at a lot of places, but that is due to traumatic experiences that they've had. No animal is born with like killer instincts. Every animal, including human beings, you become what you become because of your experiences or because of what you've gone through.
Right.
Same thing with dogs. So what I do is, wherever I live, so now this is my locality, right? All the dogs around my locality, in the evening, whenever I come home, they are now used to my horn. So whenever I honk, they gather around, I feed them, got them a collar, got them, I take them to the vet very often, make sure that none of them are giving any birth to any more kids, because it is very unhealthy for female dogs to litter so often and engage with street dogs. So I've done that a million times for a lot of people, from a lot of localities in connection with a lot of my friends and other doctors. So the previous house that I used to live in, we did the same thing. After a point of time, we stopped having litters. So this is one big thing that I take care. I mean, I at least foresee and I try to make it work over the entire year. कि ये साल इतना इतना करना है. Yes, street dogs are a menace to a lot of people, but nor the dog can do anything about it, nor can you do anything about it. It is the government agencies that have to, be so strong. They also tried a lot, but it's not 100% possible that you eradicate that. And we're not trying to eradicate anything. We're trying to make it a better place to coexist with animals. So, come on, we've invaded their lands. They haven't invaded ours.
True.
And I engage with animal welfare. NGOs or little small groups or people, individuals. Dogs on the street have to be healthy. Like you see malnourished dogs. I mean, it's a very sad sight.
Right.
And I can't. I mean, I feel really sad for it. First of all, they can't speak. They can't express.
Yeah.
And then you exploit them. It's a very sad sight for me. So yeah, these are few things that I do. Yeah.
Those are some really actually needed attention causes that you are doing.
Yeah.
Truly
I mean, I do
inspirational.
as much as I can in my capacity.
So, are there any people whom you would like to thank?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, my father, the biggest inspiration. Not just for me, for the entire family. He's been like a great inspiration. And next, mother, for always supporting us, being kind, supporting us, understanding understanding the business how it is. More like for my dad and me. And the same thing, my wife now, she understands each and every part of why it is the way it is. And I think from somewhere she also learned from her mother that this is how it is.
Yeah.
And they are always perpetually encouraging me, no matter wherever I see a place where I am spiraling. Either she's like, my mother is talking to me in a very encouraging manner, or my wife is like, both of us will get through this together. Like we are a team. So yeah, I'd definitely love to thank my family and nobody else. Yeah.
That's actually very important.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Ajinkya, for being part of the show and taking out time and sharing so much about you and Baba Travels with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
And viewers, if you also enjoyed watching the interview as much as I enjoyed having a conversation with Mr. Ajinkya, please do like and share our video. Thank you so much.